Welcome back to Earth Chronicles, Book 1, The Fifth Pinnacle by H.G. Shuler. Chapter 21. The room where Danny and Solomon were had only just witnessed the spectacular departure of the four others. They had no clue that in the other dimension days had gone by. Literally, in this dimension, only 3 minutes had eclipsed when it all starts up again. A state of confusion still envelopes them as a slight tremor roars, quickly magnifying, vibrating the room. It's starting all over again. Danny screams, "Hold on to the freaking minibar this time." Solomon shouts in response. They still didn't understand that Harlan, Angela, James, and Grace were making their return. Suddenly, a misty blue illumination starts filling the room like a strange neon fog rolling in. The tremors intensify. The room is pulsating and rattling in a low, audible rumbling sound. The blue illumination fills the room completely. It's clinging brightly to the walls, the furniture, and even their individual bodies. With the blue still magnifying, a loud ringing sensation rips through their eardrums, and they are frightened into numbness as a spherical portal opens above them. Desperately, they hold on to the minibar and the furniture as they try to keep from crashing to the floor. Through the portal, they see clear evidence of another world. The sooty gray smoke hanging over a bombed-out London, and the Londoners are running, yelling, groping for each other, hoping for safety. Tanks, planes, and huge metal creatures are ravaging the city. The multiverse travelers are transferred into the room at this second. While all of this transpires, a strong pulling sensation stretches the room into an odd tubular shape, and one of the Nabes is sucked off the couch, away into the portal. Immediately after that, the portal shrinks, and it gives off a sudden intense flash of bright blue light as it bursts into nothingness. When the blue illumination clears, Danny and Solomon can see 6 more figures standing in the room. At first, Danny doesn't want to look at Harlan. She can't believe how much she underestimated his powers. She turns looking out over the Lexington skyline. "I want you to know something," she speaks with her back still turned. "As a last precaution, I've been working on one of my abilities." Without warning, she swings around, throwing up her arms. "I think you'll be proud of me." With a jerk of her head, a congealed substance shoots swiftly out of her hands, forming a barrier around her. It's a force field. "Do you like it?" Harlan takes a few steps toward her. "Why are you doing this?" She hesitates, laughing a moment before answering. "Because it's obvious that we miscalculated your powers. You can't hurt me now, though, so go ahead and try." "I don't want to hurt you." "Why do you think that?" "You might not want to hurt me, but you still want to stop us. So, you're up to something, I can feel it." "You're right, but it's probably not what you think. I can't kill you, or I will lose my own life. I can't stop your plan, at least not completely, or so I've come to understand, because there will be other ramifications. So or rather, we've decided on a compromise." "Don't listen to him, Danny. He's lying. He's up to something." "Shut up, Solomon, before I mute your vocal cords or blind you. If I need your help, I'll ask for it." She walks a few steps horizontally, looking over all of the multiverse travelers. "I see you brought a couple more back than you left with." "Okay, so I'm listening. But this better be impressive. What could you possibly have come up with in only a few minutes?" He takes 2 more steps in her direction. "In moving in and out of dimensions, time doesn't work the same way. We've been gone now for nearly a week. You got my attention. Go on. We're offering a compromise. I believe I can. Hold on there. You mentioned compromise, but why would you? You've taken James' side, and he's been against our arrangement from the outset." "Because I have to. Because I don't have a choice. Because the other realm has made it clear to me that all of us have to work this out together. I admit I don't like it, but I simply don't have a choice." Danny lets her arms down, and the congealed force field fades to nothing. She hesitates, laughing again. "Sounds like poetic justice is on my side. So what's the compromise? You don't like my time frame of being able to regenerate the Earth's population, and I get it. It would take so long that you would lose support from most of the continents. If you lose support, the plan is dead, at least for now, and that's not acceptable to you. On the other hand, I don't want anyone to lose their life. However, as was already mentioned, the plan James and I came up with is too time-consuming to be approved, and the other realm won't allow me to wreak any havoc without serious consequences. So, I propose we meet in the middle. We can regenerate half the population of the Earth in just over 6 months. James and I have looked it over, and we're sure of it. We save billions of lives while at the same time pleasing the leaders of the 7 continents, the powers to be. You really think they'll go for that? I do. 3 months turns into 6, but that's still a far cry from 12 or more. These are considerable numbers. Do you have the documentation to back up this new plan of yours? There's a folder in his shoulder bag, Angela says, pointing at it. She reaches in and pulls it out. Here, take it. Take the next 24 hours to look it over. After that, we meet back here, and you give us your decision. Does it sound fair enough? You time travelers just bought yourself 24 hours. Now tell me about this other dimension, she asks as she pours herself a drink from the minibar. After a quick sip, she walks over to Timothy and Curtis. Is that where these two are from? And why are you wearing a Civil War uniform? Kurt responds in irritation. You would remind me of that, wouldn't you? The war's been over a long time. Whatever do you mean, Bugle Boy? Nothing. It's a long story. Let's just say I was in a play when I got caught up in the invasion of London. That's when these good people whisked me away to safety. She looks at Timothy. What about you? What's your story? Almost the same, except I wasn't in a play. I was in a bombed-out building that these guys happened to seek refuge in. You boys look like you need a drink. In fact, I think we all need a drink. Harlan glances over the minibar. I hate to break up this reunion, but we need to go. I had to find my grandson, Carter. You can imagine how concerned he's been about this meeting. What difference does it make? Whether we agree to a compromise or not at his age, he and his girlfriend can't be regenerated. They're going to die. It can't be stopped. Not necessarily. I might have worked that out. With the extra time, I could dilute the formula, then give smaller doses over a period of weeks. I can do this not with just Carter and Jen, but also with select others. We don't have to lose everyone under 50 years of age. If they think they have a virus that will kill them, then they'll be more than happy to accept the injections. That's never been tried before. No, it hasn't, but I'm confident it will work. After she picks up another bottle, pouring 2 fingers of vodka in her glass, she turns, moving closer so that her lips are at Harlan's ear. Remember when we were living on the beach? We had such a connection. I still want you, and I think you know that. This is our chance. It may not come again. If the documentation's correct, I'll accept the compromise happily. Then we can be together again. It's what you want too, isn't it? Without even hesitating, he turns his head away and walks toward the door. Sorry for the rush, but we have to leave now. Fine. Then go talk to your precious grandson. Just be back here in 24 hours. Their footpath has brought them to the museum hotel's lobby. Dylan, who is leading the way, had just spoken a few last-minute instructions. He's holding a box with numerous whiskey brand labels imprinted into it. Jen has a large leather purse on a shoulder strap hanging to the side of her hip. Ansel and Carter eye security as the 4 of them approach the elevator, but not one guard seems to be concerned. Everything was happening just as Dylan had said it would. Once on the elevator, Dylan punches in the code to make it stop on the 5th floor. Now's the moment of truth, guys. Remember what we've rehearsed. Stay calm, and they won't suspect a thing. And then the door to the elevator opens. As they walk out, their surroundings appear to be moving in slow motion. The hallway is lighted, but not well. It's more like the glow of a full moon, and for Carter and Jen, this is not what they expected. Dylan mumbles something as they exit the elevator, though inaudible. They take it for encouragement. The lighting is so poor that it's like they're walking downhill in a tunnel. At the corner of another hallway, there is a dark gray housekeeper's card. Dylan takes a sharp right, grazing the card, and enters a much brighter area. Not far ahead is a group of men standing guard outside a door. As they approach them, one of the men is wild-looking with a dark complexion and a backpack swung over his shoulders. He steps out in front of the others. "Old Jack, my man," Dylan says with a smile fully across his face. "I've got a delivery for Solomon. But first get a load of this liter of scotch I brought for you." Reaching into the box, he pulls out a bottle and hands it to him. It's the 50-year-old good stuff. "Oh, you're a good one, Dylan." Old Jack doesn't seem very concerned and shows it with his usual half-grunt, half-laugh. As soon as he starts analyzing the bottle, the four of them make their move. Jen feels a weakness, like she's moving much too slow, but she's actually moving lightning fast. Each tiny shift of her hand is perfectly executed, her aim catching her victim unaware, resulting in a quick strike to the heart. Two others were struck simultaneously, but old Jack would not succumb so easily. He senses trouble too late, but manages to deflect the dart with the bottle, ricocheting it into his shoulder just above his heart. The result of this less than perfect execution bought him 2 extra seconds before he passed out. He manages to twist the doorknob and falls headfirst into the room, the bottle clenched to his chest. All of this happens just as Harlan approaches the door from the other side. He is about to walk out with Angela and the others. Meantime, Carter, Jen, Dylan, and Ansel were all pressed against the hallway wall, reloading their dart guns. Within seconds, they all 4 burst over the top of old Jack into the room, dart guns up in the firing position. Immediately, they find themselves face to face with Harlan, the others standing some distance behind him. For the first half of his life, Harlan Lancaster had lived in an exciting story-like setting. At only 10 years old, he once saved the life of a man whose leg had been cut off by a train. He calmly took his shirt off and tightly tied a tourniquet, something he had learned to do in the Cub Scouts. What the Scouts, nor any others, could never teach him was calmness. This was a natural gift, something he had been blessed with, born with. He seemed to thrive under pressure, and in high school it made him a star athlete. He still held records in track and field, but it was his football prowess as his team's quarterback that he was best remembered for. There was never enough pressure to rattle him, and if not for his receiver dropping a pass, his team would have won the state championship 2 years running. After high school, he had similar success in college. Then it was on to Vietnam, where he garnered a drawer full of medals for his leadership and bravery. He did all of this with the calmness that which seems only possible in the quietude and serenity of nature. Harlan Lancaster was the definition of calmness under pressure. Until the last few months, the second half of his life had been efficiently opposite. For years, his life had been so extraordinarily ordinary that it was as if he had been immobilized and buried in the snow. After the death of his wife, he would spend days by himself, totally uninterrupted. This period had confirmed that he had grown old and was dying because of the spreading cancer. Every now and then, he would venture out of his house into town driving his 1998 classic Chevrolet Impala. Even during these times, no amount of traffic or noise could rattle him. He was still the definition of calmness. During the last few months, Harlan had somehow accepted the suddenness of being young again. On top of that, he had been given extraordinary and evolving powers and had been called on to use these powers in the defense of others. Through all of this, and with the recognition that he was one of 2 chosen ones that would somehow have to rescue all of mankind, his calmness had not yet been overwhelmed. Not since his early years had he faced such an unexpected, out-of-control situation. He had come full circle. His greatest test stood in front of him. In an instant of time, Carter screamed at Harlan to duck, and 4 darts were sent blasting across the room.
That's the end of Chapter 21. Stay tuned for the next chapter of Earth Chronicles Book 1, The Fifth Pinnacle on H.G. Shuler at YouTube.